Today we're putting two premium daily contact lenses head-to-head, Johnson & Johnson's Acuvue Oasys one day and Alcon's Dailies. We're going to dig into the actual clinical trial data from the FDA to figure out which one is actually worth your money to buy. A quick heads up before we start. This video is for educational purposes and represents my independent review as a doctor. It is not medical or diagnostic advice. My comparisons are based strictly on public FDA records and scientific papers. Since I don't know your specific eyes, please see your local eye care professional before making any changes. Also, this video is completely independent, not sponsored by any company, and falls under fair use commentary. Here is a look at the specs for our two premium contenders. Acuvue actually has a higher water content, but lower oxygen permeability compared to the Dailies. It really looks like both companies had to make a trade-off here, balancing how much water the lenses hold against its overall decay value. So we are using head-to-head clinical trial data to figure out which lens is actually more comfortable in the real world. If we look at the promotional material provided by Johnson & Johnson, they point to two different clinical trials for their Acuvue Oasys lenses. So we're going to take the data from their 2016 trial and break down the numbers ourselves to see what the results actually show. Now looking at the trial methodology, they wanted a very specific baseline. The subjects were young adults. They utilized a strict crossover design, which is great for removing bias. Participants wore lens A for a week, took a break, and then wore lens B for a week. For the results, they evaluated everything using the CLUE questionnaire. This is an FDA-validated metric that gives us hard data on comfort, vision quality, and how easy the lenses are to handle. So, what is the clinical conclusion after this 1-week trial? Acuvue Oasys one day actually pulled ahead with a higher average comfort rating, scoring 71.87 compared to 63.07 for the Dailies. But here's the catch. There's no publicly available p-value for these results. Without that data, we can't definitely claim this difference is statistically significant, but the raw numbers certainly favor Acuvue. So, who actually wins the showdown? Based on the patient responses in this head-to-head trial, Acuvue Oasys one day came out on top. Because the manufacturer didn't publish the heavy statistical math in the public results, I cannot legally or scientifically tell you it is an absolute guarantee for your eyes. But if we are looking at the raw scores from the people who actually wore both lenses side by side, Acuvue is the preferred one for everyday comfort. Now keep in mind that the clinical data we looked at today is from a decade ago. If any of you have come across newer head-to-head trials, please let me know down in the comments section. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, remember to subscribe. I will be doing my best to publish one video a week, answering all your eye questions using real scientific publications and hard clinical data. Thank you for watching.